People keep asking me if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Happy Pod, the only podcast in the world. My name is Nathan. As always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Lawrence, who's going to tell us all what this silly little show is all about.
Nathan, this is the show where we get together, we talk about all things, we talk about movies, wait, I didn't say pop culture. We do the pop culture thing. We talk about movies, we talk about TV shows, we talk about games, and we try and put a positive spin on things. We've had enough negative Nelly nonsense in the discourse, so we're here to put that right. That's what we're doing.
Lawrence, I'm wondering, are you ever going to be able to do the intro without just completely panicking and then just saying, like, whatever comes into your head and just, you know, waffling for a little bit?
It's not so much a panic, it's more just a kind of, like, I find a roundabout way to get there, but I've never wrote it down. It's never scripted, so I'm always just kind of trying to pull it from memory.
I think everyone can tell you've never wrote it down. I certainly can.
Yeah, but you've heard it. I mean, I guess they've heard it as well. That's the point of recording it, I guess.
Yeah, we can all tell. Like,
should we do away with it? Do we still need it?
What do you mean, do we still need it?
Well, people know. They can look at the back catalogue. It's got, like, Hairspray and other stuff in it. Like, they pop culture, they get it.
Oh, here's a new podcast talking about, I don't know, Scream 3. I love Scream 3. I'm going to listen to this podcast. Wonder what it's about? Too bad the hosts will never tell me.
Yeah, I guess saying that, the podcast doesn't really have a name that suggests anything movie or TV or games, does it? It's just
every podcast is someone's first podcast. It's always nice to do a little introduction to let them know and feel welcome. It's a staple. It's branding. It's letting you know that you're here, you're safe, and you're at home with friends.
You're never safe when you're with us. You're not in safe hands. We're all over the shop.
Sorry if that's not how they do it on Mate Sense, the podcast hosted by two dickheads, I hear.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
You don't need to be like this.
Yeah, well, I will. That's what happens when you disparage my podcast. I'll disparage yours.
Hang on. This is also my podcast.
Well, we'll see about that.
Nathan, are you prepared for possibly a longer episode, given that our Rebels episode was like 2.5 hours or something insane?
I mean, yeah, but to be fair, we did talk about 4 seasons of TV. We're talking about one here, and it's 8 episodes long. So
yeah. But Star Wars, we always go over on Star Wars because we end up chatting about stuff. And we'll probably talk about a bit about Rebels.
I imagine so, but
I never know how to talk about these series. Like, I hate talking about them like episode by episode because I feel like there's no point breaking it down to that degree. Like, where do you want to start with this?
I don't know, really. There's lots of places we can start. Why don't you tell me how much you hated it, first of all?
You still have this opinion of me that I just hate all Star Wars. I liked Rebels quite a lot. I was the one that made the podcast 2.5 hours because I demanded we talk about every spare inch of it.
Yeah, it's not quite true, but yeah.
I like most of Rebels. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. I like this. I like this quite a bit. I think it's the best analogy I can use, and when I say best, I mean the only one that I can think of, and it's still not that great, is like a sandwich of... Okay. I wasn't a fan at first.
Okay.
I got really into it in the middle, and I don't even want to say I didn't like the end, because I have questions for you when we get to the end, because there's some stuff that I think I'm not fully clued in on, and that's it. That's a case of the show, you know, directing itself more at some hardcore fans, which is not a problem. I'm just not that person, so I have questions. So actually, the sandwich analogy falls apart, essentially. Was this all filling for you? Was this no stale crust to keep on the sandwich?
I don't understand your sandwich metaphor. I don't... I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what you're asking me.
Just take a stab in the dark. Was it all filling?
But I don't know what that means.
Have I not clearly expressed the parameters of the sandwich metaphor?
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what this sandwich is. Lawrence, shut up with your sandwich, all right? I obviously enjoyed this show. It's something I've been waiting for quite a while. I know the characters. I love the characters. I was excited to see Somewhat of a continuation of Rebels, not exactly, but it's picking up on some of these characters again, and diving into some more weird mystical Force shit, which I always enjoy, and that's something that I was pretty sure was coming, and I was right. So yeah.
Did you have a strong opinion on? Because, like you say, it does continue with the character of Rebels. This is the first time we've seen them outside of the TV show Rebels since it ended.
Incorrect. False.
Is it?
Yes, that is false. Well, for some of them, anyway.
Are you saying we saw Zeb in Mando 3?
No, because we didn't see Zeb in Ahsoka. So Hera is in Star Wars Squadrons.
Is that the game?
Yeah, it's a game. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, so outside of that one obscure game that did many people play Squadrons?
A few.
And what was she? Was she like the flight commander that gave you missions?
Yeah, she was just a supporting character.
Okay, right. So the first time of substance that we've seen these characters again, did you have like any strong opinions on it moving from animation to live action? Where did you land on all of that stuff?
No. It's for me, it's one medium to another. Like it. I don't understand why some people are like either there seems to be two opposite ends of the field. Like it's either the second coming of Jesus or it's like the worst thing ever. And like for me, I don't care. Like sure, it is great to see things I know and love from live action be given a sense of legitimacy and that they're now being presented to a wider audience, because it's just a matter of fact that more people will watch this than an animated show. So it is nice to see that sort of stuff. But also I'm not like, finally live action, now they're real. But then I'm not also like, why are they not animated? Like whatever. Either way is fine for me.
If this is someone's first podcast, like you said, Nathan is a diehard Star Wars fan. Very much so enjoys Star Wars. More than like,
it's all right.
More than the average person, I would say. No, shut up.
It's okay.
No, that's a lie.
No, it's pretty okay.
But so like I guess it's no different to you as like a jump from like a movie to a book, a movie to like a comic book, or like a live action to anything else. Like it's you're used to it, like searching outside of like, I guess, widely accepted mediums for content on these characters. So I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with these characters from all different mediums. Like
yeah,
I don't ever just prefer one over the other. You know, they come from a whole range of different mediums, and no matter which one, it's always fun to see them show up.
Do you think there's ever anything like lost in an animation to like live action thing? Because obviously you can, like we've always said, animation, you can do stuff that you just simply can't do in like a live action setting.
The thing with animation, and particularly Rebels is a heavily stylized show. Like it's got a certain art style which isn't necessarily true to life. So like when you bring these characters into live action, yeah, of course they're going to look a little bit different, because that's humans, you know, and people don't look like that. So it's just a matter of fact that they are good, and things are going to look different. I can look at Count Dooku in the Clone Wars with his like big long face and whatever. So like things are going to change and look different. I'm completely fine with that. They're the character to me. So it's not like something like, I don't need the character to look fucking identical to they did in the animated version.
I think they get pretty fucking close with some of these castings, though, to be fair.
They get good enough. Like at no point am I like, oh, that's not Thrawn, that's not Ahsoka, that's not Sabine, or whatever, you know?
Yeah, no, I think more so for me for Ezra as well. Like Ezra and Sabine, I think, are like so one to one with their animation counterparts, and obviously they're both not the voice actors, I don't think. So it's pretty fucking impressive, like how well they managed to kind of make you just go, these are the same characters, shut the fuck up. It's you know, they're just here. Like you get other stuff that I'd imagine people have been fucking clambering for a long time, which is like Hayden in his Clone Wars armor and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they don't fall short of making you think that these characters are still the characters that we've spent. Was it 5 seasons of Rebels or 4 seasons of Rebels?
4 seasons of Rebels, yeah. 4
seasons of Rebels with. All right, well, then kind of, what are your overall opinions having seen the full show?
Yeah, really good, really good. I love delving into mystical Force shit. I love it when things get weird, so I'm all about that. I love character development, learning more about the characters that we know and love. I love some good action, some good, some good lightsaber drills and that sort of stuff. So overall, pretty good stuff.
You know me. Your favorite thing to say is that I'm far more cynical than you. Like,
Because you are.
So
That's
yeah.
it's just the truth.
It is the truth. But like anyone that's heard this podcast, I am not so much like I like Star Wars. I'm far more of I find myself repeating this all the fucking time. But for anyone that is new, I'm less interested than Nathan. I still like Star Wars, but like I haven't read any of the books. I've seen an extremely minor section of the Clone Wars. I've seen all of Rebels, but that was only not until like 2 months ago or whatever. So like a lot of my way in on Star Wars TV shows has been these live actions, because like Nathan said, they do find a wider audience. I don't know why. I guess it's just
Live action bias.
yeah. I mean, I guess that is true. That absolutely does exist.
Yeah.
So like my big enjoyments, my main two standouts have been like Andor and Mando season 1, which I'm a massive fan of. Going into this, I was like I was excited because I wanted to know how Ezra was coming back, and I was excited to see like Thrawn was a character I really really enjoyed in Rebels, and I was excited to see him come back, and I like that they keep that Rebels theme alive, I think, quite nicely in this show. How like most of the show is people just ignoring commands, and, like, doing that. Like even they've won the war. Right, they were, the original point of Rebels is they're rebelling against the Empire, but now they've won the war, they're still rebelling against the New Republic. The New Republic are like, there's a lot of, a bunch of kind of bureaucracy and a bunch of bullshit, like a bunch of kind of pencil pushers that are like stopping them doing certain things, and they're just like, whatever. Sabine has like no respect for a chain of command. The way they just kind of, they bend the rules, but not to the point of breaking them, especially when it comes to like, but basically, there is nothing that will stop them being there for their mates, which carries over really nicely, and it was a theme of the show that I really really enjoyed.
What did you think of it overall then? Because it sounds like you're dancing around the fact that there's a lot of stuff you didn't like.
I have a weird relationship with this show, I think, because I really enjoyed it. Like genuinely, I found myself kind of like watching a couple of episodes, and like a lot of the times, like Mando season 3 is the perfect example. I trudged through it. And to like towards the end, the last day it was before we had to record the podcast on it, I just kind of was like, I'm going to watch all of this. And then I didn't really enjoy it all that much. Whereas this, I found myself like actively wanting to put on the next episode. I found the first 2 episodes a bit not the best for me. And that's, I don't think Dave Filoni as a live action director has a lot of sauce yet. As an animation director, I respect him immensely. I think the stuff he's been able to do, and as a writer, I think he's quite competent filling out a lot of space. But I'm not entirely sold on what he brings to the table as a live action director. I found the first couple of episodes quite slow, and then like episode 3, I was on board. Like I was proper into it, really really excited. I think I watched like 4 episodes in a night. Just like turned the lights off in my living room, had a little backlight on my TV. I was really in the zone. And then the ending, I felt just kind of like it focused on some stuff I didn't fully understand. So I can't say I didn't like it. I just think it, for me, as an audience member, I was kind of like, oh, okay. But like there's no part of this I didn't like. I found everything that was happening quite interesting. I just think some of the presentation of it was, and not to put it all on Dave Filoni, there are other people that directed certain episodes that I was a bit like, oh, I wish they could have done something a bit crazier here. I'm used to seeing these characters, like we say, in animation being a bit larger than life. So to see some of them quite as, I don't really want to offend anyone, but they're not listening to this. But like some of the performances take a while to get into, I think, for me.
Do you have an example?
The Rosario Dawson, mainly. Again, these are characters that like past the third episode mark, I really found my footing with them a lot more. So I think it is a direction thing. I don't want to talk ill of the actors because Rosario Dawson's been in some phenomenal stuff and I really enjoy her. I don't know the actress that plays Sabine, but I quite enjoyed her character after like the episode 2 mark. You care less about this kind of stuff, don't you? You've said that before, I think.
What do you mean I care less about it?
Well, you, like last episode as well, you were like cinematography, that kind of shit. Like it's not the most important. You prefer a story over a super clean presentation, right?
Yeah, because I'm watching a story.
yeah, but that's the point. I can find a fault with that because you're watching it. So like what you watch, you want it to look good and feel cool.
But like when I'm reading a book, I don't give a shit how it looks.
Yeah, but that's a book. That's a different, like, it's a different medium.
Yeah, but like even if like a film looks like shit, I can still forgive it and enjoy. And if it's a good story, then I can enjoy the story. Like
Yeah.
presentation is not be all and end all for me. Like it is
not at all,
for
yeah.
some people, like you.
I've just said I like more of this than I don't. I find it packaged weirdly, especially when Dave Filoni is directing it. That's my
You're really
main
going
thing.
in on Dave. All right, what's your beef with Dave?
You're right. I'm tiptoeing around this. I have notes. Shall I read them?
Yes, please.
I think he doesn't have any concept of when to cut something. I think he enjoys Star Wars to the point of excess where there is so much left in the episode that I don't need to see. Like, I know everyone kind of had a little laugh about how, like, seeing every step of the puzzle door opening in episode 1, like, seeing every step Ahsoka takes to walk up some sort of structure. I just find sometimes there's a difference between slow-paced and just a bit dull after a while. Like, I think tension should be palpable, and a lot of the time it's like empty silence. Like, the conversations don't bounce off the screen. They just kind of like, they stand there, and a lot of the time when they're talking to each other, they're just standing there. And I think back to like Andor conversations he had with like his mum in like high intensity scenarios. Like, they were pacing around, they were using the space, and I think that a lot of that, again, I keep saying this, but like in the earlier episodes, I think it was just missing, and it felt I was engaged in what was going on. Like you say, it's presentation is not the be all and end all. I was engaged in the story, but I just wish it popped a little bit more than it did.
Okay.
I'm not fighting you. What do you think?
I'm not saying you are. Stop getting defensive.
I'm not getting defensive.
Okay. Do you have like any examples other than like the thingy sequence, the puzzle sequence or whatever?
Yeah, right. So in episode 2,
Yeah.
I think it's episode 2. Might be the first one. I'm not sure. There's like a moment where like a bomb is about to go off in Sabine's hand. I think I don't know. If it's not just a 1-for-1 bomb, but something's about to explode. Or something.
It's a droid's head that she's reprogramming, but if she like
Yes.
reprograms it wrong, it will explode.
Yeah, that's the moment.
Yes.
And they're in like the little hospital place. She's recovering. And I just feel like there's like a countdown almost to like a bomb going off. Like the tension is supposed to be building, but like no one seems concerned. Everyone is just stood there like, well, I guess if it goes off, it goes off. And it's like, it lacked that like, you know that the age old thing is like, if it doesn't look like anyone cares, it's hard to care yourself.
Yeah.
That's where I was at with it. And I don't want this to be all negative, so I want to get these complaints out of the way and talk about the stuff I enjoyed.
Okay. How do I say this? Were you watching the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Then you didn't notice you didn't notice Yang being like, Sabine, what are you doing? Sabine, that's going to go, if that explodes, we're all going to die. Sabine, I don't want you, did you not notice the note of panic and tone in Hu Yang?
Yeah, but like, move the camera. Like, give me some music. Give me some sound effects. Give me some tension. Like, have the actors move around the space in panic. It's just everyone was stood still. Like, I understand vocally they're all going, you know, like they're feeling the panic vocally, but like no one, it doesn't feel expressed. Like, even now, just talking, I'm moving my hands, and no one was doing that.
Okay.
Like, you have a way of making it sound like these are minor things. Like, direction is important in a scene to make it feel alive.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying your point is bad or whatever. I'm not saying anything like that. If that's how you felt, fair enough. Didn't bother me. Didn't notice it at all.
Fair enough.
You come at things from much more of a filmmaking perspective than I do, because that's what you like. That's what you're interested in. And I also like that, and I can appreciate good filmmaking. That's not why I'm coming to Star Wars, though.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That is completely fair. All right, you said at in the beginning of this, one of the main things you love is like these characters, and like you were keen for this show and how it accelerated like some of the character growth and everything. Is there a particular character you wanted to talk about?
The titular character of the show, Ahsoka's show.
Yeah.
So I was most excited to see Ahsoka and see what we can learn more about her and see how she can grow, because this is like adult MILF Ahsoka. Like, it's not someone we've spent a whole lot of time with, really. The bulk of our time with Ahsoka has been like when she was a kid, essentially. We did get some stuff in Rebels, not a huge amount, and she was a little bit older then. But like, this is our first time really fully diving into older Ahsoka. So I was interested to see, how everything has affected her, how, the war and everything that's happened with Anakin and Vader and all this sort of stuff. So I was interested to see how all of that played out. I think it's interesting to say that you said that like you was unimpressed with like Rosario Dawson's performance, and you felt like she was up to a point anyway. She was quite like reserved and held back and stuff, and I would agree, but I think that's the point though. I feel like the character is supposed to be reserved and not opening up and very very closed off in the first few episodes, and it's only when she goes in between the worlds and the world between worlds, and she has the lessons with her master that she's able to open up and be like her more of herself again.
I get that. Like about halfway through the second episode, I did check myself thinking that like, hang on, this is not Ahsoka from the Clone Wars. This is even in Rebels, she does appear far more stoic and a bit more like mature, if that's the right word for it. So I like I say, I don't want to knock her acting. I just there are moments I think she wasn't directed the best, and it could have been a bit. I think it could have been improved from, like, this sounds nasty to Dave, but like some more capable hands at the helm, if that makes sense.
You really don't like Dave, do you? You really don't like Dave.
It's not that I don't like Dave. I just like he's got like the keys of like a lot of money and these characters that mean a lot to people, and like I'm in the minority when I say that like this character doesn't mean as much to me as it does to you, and if you're happy, then what's the fucking crime? But like I don't know, there's just like I feel like there's certain things he could do more interestingly, but I don't want to knock him because like I can't fucking do it. I'm not a director. I haven't been given the money for this, and I probably couldn't do it better. And I do think over time he will, like, because he wasn't like Mando season one of the first directing bits he did for live action.
It was the first, yeah.
Yeah, so like he's still new to this live action thing, and it's probably very different when you started with animation to move on to this.
Yeah.
You probably feel the limits a lot harder than you would, because animation, literally anything is possible. But you're right, with Ahsoka, like, I do think it was intentional, and I quite like that her performance does shift. She seems a little bit more carefree after the, you get the, like, she chooses to live moment with Anakin, and it is almost like kind of her letting go of all of that pent up, like, stress she's put on herself. Yeah. And having that, she just seems more carefree, which I quite liked. I really liked the flashback episode with Ahsoka. Not flashback, but where you saw hints of her as a child in the Clone Wars.
The World Between Worlds episode.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really like that. I think like it was I can't remember who the actress is. I know she's doing a lot of stuff. I know she was young Gamora in Endgame. I know she was in Barbie, the girl that plays the younger Ahsoka. But I also think I saw someone on Twitter say this, and I really agreed. I know that Ahsoka was a soldier in Clone Wars, but like I do think the animation maybe hid that a little bit. Not intentionally, but it's harder to kind of grasp an age. I do think in live action, when you see a child around these muscular clones that are like a lot taller than her, she sticks out like a sore thumb, and you feel that weight a bit more.
Yeah, it makes you realize that these are literally children fighting a war for what as well. So
yeah,
for Palpatine to just fucking run around and kid everyone.
Because he was fucking solid whoever won, right? Like he didn't need anyone in particular to win.
Yeah, he's literally in charge of both sides. Yeah, so like
fucking hell.
Yeah.
4D chess.
From exactly. Palps. So it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just happy to let the slaughtering commence. She questions that as well. Like I like how there is this theme of like changing with the times, and like that's kind of most expressed in this episode, I think, where she's like, Anakin was like, I was trained to be a keeper of the peace. I'm training you to be a warrior. And she's like, I don't want just that. Like, is that it? Like, that's not all this is, surely. What do you think about that in terms of like the whole theme of a lot of the theme of the show being like the Jedi have to move on. You have to change with the times. Like that's part of Balon's character as well, I think. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I really like the whole thing with Anakin and the lessons he's trying to teach her. In the World Between Worlds and stuff. I like you know, the moments we get where he's, you know, walking off into the dust, and then it flickers between him and Vader and stuff, and it's sort of like, and she's literally watching him walk off down that path after he's just told her to come with him, and it's like, if this is the path she continues down, is that what's destined for her as well? Is this how things are gonna end up for Ahsoka? And she kind of like has to come to terms with, no, she's not her master. She is different, and she hasn't made the same mistakes and that type of stuff. So yeah, I think all that stuff was really well done. And yeah, like you say, Ahsoka trying to come to terms with like moving on, and not like moving on, forgetting, but like moving on and carrying the past with you still.
Like, I think coming to terms with it is probably the best way to like kind of say it, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
I like that. I really like that kind of visual metaphor of like, yeah, because I forgot about that, and it's an interesting point of view where he does say like, follow me, come on.
Yeah.
And then like the path he walks obviously is the path she could have taken, but chose not to, thank the heavens.
Side note, Hayden, fucking incredible. Oh my god, he's so fucking. It is amazing that we ever fucking disparage this actor for any reason, because watching his performance in this show, fucking phenomenal, man. So note perfect at every point. He was so good.
The way he like flicks on a dime between Anakin and Darth Vader as well, like in how people would perceive it. Yeah, I think he's like, you're right. How the fuck he ever kind of got stick? Because he dared to try a different style of performance, like something less focused on vocal range and more kind of concerned with physicality and
I think it's purely a case of he didn't necessarily have the best director working with him. He had someone who was much more interested in the technology and the story rather than the actual performance itself.
Yeah.
And
I still think he shines in Revenge of the Sith, though. I still think he's phenomenal in it.
It does at moments, but there's still awkward moments. You know?
Yeah, I think Attack of the Clones is his crime. Revenge of the Sith, I'm a lot more forgiving on. I think he's pretty good in that movie.
Crime is a bit strong, but okay.
No, like there's some line deliveries that, you know, it's
yeah, but there is for everyone. There is for Ewan McGregor in that movie as well. So
one of my, not to spoil one of my little things, but one of my notes is no one moves like Hayden. I genuinely think he is up there with, like, I know you've got like Ray Park and everything, like, who is, you know, the best at flips and stuff. But like when it comes to someone who plays the character and he doesn't play a part of Anakin, he plays all of Anakin. I think he's one of Star Wars' best physical performers. Like, he feels like a threat with a blade in his hand.
I don't think he's ever gone more than probably 6 months without picking up a lightsaber and just swinging it around, like even just in his home. Like even during like the fucking 15 years or whatever where he wasn't doing any Star Wars, like he had to just be picking up that lightsaber and just swinging it around his back and something, because he's so good, man.
Yeah, like, I think he just kept it up. Like, one day I'm going to get this call, and then, you know, 2023 he gets like, I don't know, 8 of those calls. He's been back a bit now, isn't he? He was in what's he come back in recently?
3 times technically. He was in Rise of Skywalker, Kenobi, and this. Yeah.
Oh yes, he said like he had a quick line or something in Rise of Skywalker, didn't he?
Restore the balance, Ray, as I did.
There we go. No, I think he's brilliant. It's always happy to see him. And I guess, like, I don't know.
It's weird as well that, like, one of the ongoing jokes is that Matt Lanter and Hayden Christensen always sound so different in their performances as Anakin, but then, like, not really anymore. Like, like this version of Hayden, it's like, I don't know, he's clearly been watching some Clone Wars because, like, he's really bringing some of Matt Lanter's performance into it as well.
I think so. He sounds a lot more chilled and a bit more casual. Like, with a lot of stuff.
He's got a lot more of that, like that Anakin charm that Matt Lanter had.
Yeah, I think I think Matt Lanter found a balance between it, and he was like, he said in the build up to Obi-Wan in a lot of the press stuff, he was like, yeah, I've been watching what this character's been up to since I've not been playing him.
Yeah.
So I like that he's kept up with it, and you're right. I do think he finds a way to honor both performances, because how long was it that Anakin was just Matt Lanter for a while, right?
He still plays the character. He's been playing it for over 10, 15 years at this point. So yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably locked in more hours than Hayden has.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he has. Yeah.
But yeah, no, great performance from him. Always happy to see Anakin come back as well. And I guess this pairing
and in the armor was good.
Yeah, he does look good, and they changed his little hair up for it as well, made it a bit more short. Was it good to see Hayden with an Ahsoka in whatever form it takes?
It was, yeah. I saw like people taking like the piss out of it, saying that like, oh, like people are nostalgic for Anakin and Ahsoka, but it's not this Anakin or this Ahsoka. Like it's, we're nostalgic for Matt Lanter and Ash Crossan, not, but these two characters have never really met. But then that's like, I mean, yeah, but that's such a fucking negative way to look at things, because like it's the characters we're excited about, not the fucking actor in the makeup or whatever. Like that's such a like,
it's depressing they can't see past that.
Yeah, it's such a defeatist way to look at things. And if that's how you are looking at it, then like that's just boring. Like grow up. I don't know. That kind of stuff pisses me off, because it just seems like complaining for complaining's sake. Yeah, it was great. It was great. And they both worked well together. They had fucking great chemistry. Anakin was like perfect with the banner, calling her snips and the little fun little jabs and that sort of stuff. It was great.
And I like that, like, you were always kind of, especially in that episode, you were always kind of on edge with Anakin. Like, it was banter, and then so quickly you realize the vibe changed. And like, I guess that's kind of how Ahsoka feels as well, because there was a moment where Anakin was just a different person to her.
It was very funny when she was like, when she said something to the effect of like, well, I just kind of like basically hinted at the fact that he was Vader and did a lot of shit. And then Anakin just said, "Is that what this is about?" As if like he didn't just slaughter kids. And it's like, oh, come on, you can't forget about that? Like, you're still hung up on that? Like, as if you didn't commit, the biggest atrocities in the galaxy.
Yeah. I like that. So you might be able to help with this. Is that I think I caught a callback when he says, when he raises his lightsaber to her and he says like, you live or you die. That's the lesson. And she says, "I don't want to fight you." And he says, "I've heard that before." Was that him being like, when he was Darth Vader and they fought in Rebels?
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was. And I was like, pretty knobby to bring that up. It's a pretty sad moment for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I loved his performance. Speaking of my favorite performance, I think, is Ezra. I think the person... Do you know the name of the actor that played Ezra?
Iman Asfandi.
He is Ezra.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no...
He's like, so fucking good. Yeah. Again, no perfect with him on. He picks up the character perfectly. That moment when they like get surrounded by the night troopers, him and Sabine, and he's just like, wait, maybe you can take us with you. Like, that's Ezra. Come on, man.
Yeah. I think it was brilliant. And like, this is what I was maybe what I was getting at earlier, but not really landing the point. Like, as like a port over character from animation to live action, this is perfect, because he feels... I understand it's easier with Ezra because he is the Rebels goofball, right? Like, he is the silliest one. But like the whimsy of animation and like the characterization was so present. Like, he felt silly and a bit larger than life, but it didn't feel like it was unnatural. It didn't feel like he was playing up a comedy bit. It felt like he was just a sillier character.
Yeah.
And I think he was genuinely like, when you think about it for a second, like, that is, as a man who is, let's be honest, probably in his late 20s, that guy. Like,
oh, I think he's a lot older than that.
Really? Do you think, like, what, like
the
30s,
actor?
do you reckon?
The actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Ezra would be... What's Ezra supposed to be in this? Like 30?
He was born on Empire Day, so he's the same age as Luke, so he's like probably not even 30 yet. Hold on,
like mid to late 20s.
Well, it's hard to tell because we don't like. This is either 5 or 7 years after Return of the Jedi. They haven't necessarily made it quite clear. Okay. But yeah, he's probably like early 30s.
Okay. Well, like, when you consider like like the task on that actor, whose only reference point for this character is when he's younger and more immature.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to bring that character to live action, which is already a jump that enough people are going to scrutinize his performance for.
Yeah.
And then find a way to make him seem more mature, but also somewhat like a bit stuck in the past because he hasn't spoken to anyone properly for like 10 years or whatever.
So it's his
like,
little turtle friends.
Yeah, he's got his little turtle friends, which are quite cool. But no, I just think like it was good to see him. Like he's doing all the stuff that Ezra does. Like the Force is my ally, and then happily picking up a blaster and just steaming through people.
That was very fun. Yeah. I did like him fighting with just the Force though. That was very cool.
It was cool. It's also, you don't see like, I know we've had those moments like Rey stops Kylo's blade in Rise of the Skywalker, but they're still in a lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
Whereas he was just fully like weaving and ducking and everything.
That's also a very Vader move, stopping the lightsaber with just the hand. He does that a lot.
Oh yeah, he did that in Kenobi as well, didn't he? I think
he does it a lot.
Yeah, he loves it. But yeah, he's always ready for a little plan or a scheme. It was good to see that maybe you cheered in the last episode like I did.
More when he put on the stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah,
very Rebels.
So Rebels.
We're going to infiltrate
Rebels.
we're going to infiltrate an Imperial ship and we'll put on a stormtrooper outfit.
I'm pretty sure I said like why they didn't just keep a spare couple of sets in the was it the Ghost, the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, like why they didn't just have a cupboard full of them. They had to get them fresh every time. It's insane. But yeah, no, I just think he was genuinely, he just brought such, it was almost a shame that it took quite a few episodes to get to him. I think like episode 5 is when we meet him, maybe 6.
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just kind of, that's my, like one of my things is just I wish we got to him sooner because he was exactly what I was looking for, like a great medium place between live action and animation where he felt more alive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really, really liked him. I thought he was great.
Yeah, I did too. He was really good. Again, he nailed the character absolutely perfectly. Even like when we see him in the hologram in the very first episode, in Sabine's hologram, and he's like doing the awkward little head scratch that Ezra does a lot when he's like not quite sure of himself. He just nails it. He's really good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Do you want to talk about Balon and Shin?
No, I want to talk about David Tennant.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Now, you know nothing about this character, correct?
Yes, correct.
So how did you find him?
I quite liked him. I felt like C-3PO, he was pleasantly annoying.
Okay.
In a way that is, I can only describe as I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed how he was mostly protocol, but every now and again the mask slipped, and he does really care about his crewmates and everything. I thought he was warm, and obviously David Tennant, like he brings a natural charm to anything he touches.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked him, but yeah, so what's he been in outside of this?
He's only in Clone Wars. His only on-screen appearance has been in one episode arc of the Clone Wars, so just 4 episodes.
Okay.
Where
was he David Tennant?
He was David Tennant, yeah. Yeah, and he was he was doing what he does. He was a droid who went with a group of younglings and Ahsoka to Ilum so they could get their kyber crystals for their lightsabers. It's a very good little story arc.
Yeah, I think he was he played a good part in the series progression as well, because so often the droid is written as the plot device to make a ship start or make a plot thing happen. But I think he served a lot of the quieter moments with Ahsoka, and he was talking about his perception of his time in the Jedi Academy and training people. Or not training, but helping younglings with their lightsaber construction and all of this.
He does training as well. He's done training.
Oh yeah, I mean he was training with Sabine at one point as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I really, really liked how he was a constant reminder of a lot of the times people were like, this isn't how the Jedi do it. This is not Jedi protocol. And Ahsoka was like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah.
So I found him quite pleasant, but he obviously didn't stick to protocol when it mattered. Which I really enjoyed. I felt like he was just a warm addition to the cast, I think.
He was. He's a lot of fun. I like him. I'm glad he's there, and I'm glad he didn't die. I was always worried that he was going to die.
They could just put him back together. What wasn't he? Didn't he say at one point the amount of like original parts he is? At some, I think he said that.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I maybe I'm misremembering it, but he might have been talking about Chopper or another droid or something. Actually, saying that, Chopper. Let's talk about Chopper.
Oh, Chopper's great. Chopper can do no wrong. Like, the only thing with Chopper is I would just love to have seen more of him because it's Chopper. So like the fucking biggest war criminal in the galaxy. Of course, I want to see more of that insane little fucking astromech.
We spoke about this off the pod as well, so I'll rehash it just quickly. One of the things that is so good about Chopper as well, like, it's because he's a droid. In this show, he's a droid that was, conceptualized in animation and brought into live action. He is a more expressive. Is he an astromech?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a more expressive astromech than like an R2, because R2 pretty much has his voice and the way he waddles to communicate. Whereas Chopper has his little arms, his silly little wheel, his like lid kind of like moves about depending on how pissed off he is. And these were all things in animation because you have to communicate more.
Yeah.
Like you have to animate him doing stuff. He can't just be stood still.
Well, you have a character who doesn't talk, who doesn't speak like we speak. So like, you have to. That's a challenge you have to get around to still communicate what he's saying and doing and best stuff, basically. Yeah,
and I think like bringing it over here because his design was already done. He had the little arms and the wheel and stuff. It was just more fun for a practical and I'd assume some visual effects departments to play around with.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a good laugh. And like he and that's the thing as well. Like you said, it's Dave Filoni voicing him, right?
I believe so. Yeah, so he voiced him in Rebels, and it sounded the exact same. So I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that he like some of the stuff he says where like it sounds like he's arguing back. It's the exact cadence of like certain sassy comments that you would hear in like
you can like, almost like write down what he's saying. You'd be able to like fucking say like figure out exactly what he is actually saying back.
Yeah, which I think is just it's fun. It's a different way of doing a droid like this. And I think that's my thing as well. That kind of ties on to a point about Hera as well. I wish Hera did a bit more in this show. I know that because she's obviously with Chopper for most of it and Jason as well. My only thing with her is I found like whenever the cool stuff was happening, she was like either in a meeting or like on her way there, but late. Which was like I still liked her, and I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead is good and fits naturally into that role.
Yeah.
But as much as I enjoy her telling like politicians to get fucked, there were points where I was like, oh, I wanted to see her like fucking get down into it and shoot some people and stuff.
I can't say I disagree. Yeah, I'd love to have seen more Hera as well, but
it's probably coming as well. It's probably like, is there a season 2 of this? I'd imagine there has to be.
Well, it's building up to a movie at some point. We don't quite know when.
Oh yeah, isn't this Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire movie?
Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's going to be called Heir to the Empire, but it's.
It'll be dealing with Thrawn and his threat, though.
Yeah, right? Of course. Yeah, I'd love to see more Hera. I'd love to see more Jason as well. I really enjoyed seeing Jason because obviously in Rebels we only get the little fucking 2 seconds of him at the end looking like some hideous fucking monster.
I don't like his green hair. I think he looks weird.
I like his green hair. I like his little green hair. It's cute. It's great.
I know why, because hair is green, but like, how's that manifested in his hair?
Well, how's any of this? Like, fucking hell. The little droid who's got arms and he's a war criminal. Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
There's a big blue man walking around. Like, fucking hell. And you're worried about this kid's hair?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm actively worried is the wrong word.
No, I love the fucking moment, like, where Ahsoka is, in the world between worlds, and like he's just listening out to the waves, and he's like, "Can you hear the lightsabers and that sort of stuff?" And he's force sensitive clearly because of who his daddy is. So like, who's going to teach him? Is Luke going to teach him? Is Ahsoka going to teach him? What's going to happen? Is he going to get taught, or is Hera going to say absolutely fucking not? Like, who knows? True.
Yeah, because she was like quick to shrug him off a little bit in certain things.
Well, he did say to her, like, is Aunt Sabine trying to be a Jedi? I want to be a Jedi. And she's like, I know you do. I know.
Yeah, that's cute. Shush, shush now.
No, I don't
Mummy's
think
flying the thing.
Mummy's taking you on this dangerous mission with the Rebel Alliance. Shush now.
Yeah, is that not good enough? This is better than I was doing at this age. Yeah, no, I am excited for his future and where he's going to go. Speaking of Kanan as well, I liked the when he was brought up. I found like the actor that plays Ezra. I keep forgetting his name. Apologies. But, yeah, Iman. He was like, I found there was a lovely warmthness when he spoke of Kanan. It was very. I felt like the character was honored quite well, but I'm so glad we didn't see him come back. That death meant quite a lot.
Yeah.
For the character, so I'm glad that he wasn't like. At one point, there was a masked figure that was a lightsaber wielder, and I was like, I swear to God, please don't do this. I thought it could be for a second.
Oh, you thought Marok could be Kanan?
Yeah. I didn't know. He was a lightsaber wielder and he had a disguised voice and a helmet. And normally in Star Wars, that's a thing. That's something.
Everyone was saying that was going to be Starkiller. You know, like Sam Witwer's character from The Force Unleashed.
What?
Yeah, that's what everyone was saying.
Why the fuck would it have been Starkiller?
I don't fucking know, but you know what people are like.
Am I stupid, or does that doesn't make any sense to normal people, right?
So no, because like Marok was clearly an Inquisitor at one point, and it seems like he was killed and then brought back to life with Night Sister magic or something. Yeah.
Which I didn't know until I saw his body do a little green dust thing.
Yeah, no one knew that.
Okay.
But during Rebels, there was plans to bring in Starkiller into canon as an Inquisitor, but it was ultimately scrapped. They decided against it, and people were thinking maybe they could do it again because to be fair, the costume doesn't look too dissimilar from one of Starkiller's looks in the game, but. No, I personally don't think we'll ever see Starkiller in canon, and personally, I don't want to. Keep him the fuck away from this.
Doesn't he opens up so many can of worms, right? Like
he does if you make him the same as he is in those games, yes, because he is the most OP'd cunt ever. Like,
yeah, doesn't he pull a Star Destroyer down with the Force?
Yeah,
and also like, you know. Vader's apprentice. There's a lot to be said in that. Also, wasn't his ending like ambiguous? Like, wasn't it like a multiple choice ending?
Yeah, there is multiple choice endings. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how the fuck does that tie in? Which one do you choose? Yeah. No, I don't want to see that. Sam Witwer was busy enough. He's got enough roles.
Yeah.
He doesn't need more. He's fine.
One of his characters technically appeared in this show.
Do tell.
You won't know this at all, but he played in Clone Wars. He played the Sun, which is one of the Mortis gods, which is the statues that Balin was standing on at the end.
Yes, so I recognize these statues, but I also feel like I don't know enough about them. So like that was like a lot of I feel like some of his character payoff, Balin's character payoff, and I was like, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on here.
So the Mortis gods are from again a Clone Wars arc where Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan get trapped in this place called Mortis, and they come into contact with three gods, basically three gods of the Force. And one representing the light side, one representing the dark side, and then one which is kind of like the balance between the two of them. And it's so fucking weird. So it's great. It's like just a great weird delve into like the mystical side of the Force. You get like keep in mind this is during the Clone Wars, so like before Revenge of the Sith, but you get moments where Anakin sees his future and sees himself becoming Vader and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like really trippy and it's great. It's genuinely some like the best Clone Wars out there.
Does Anakin do that thing where like what a prick does in a zombie movie where he's like he sees that and he's like, I'm gonna keep that to myself. I'm not gonna let anyone know.
No, their memories are like wipes at the end of it. They don't remember. Yeah, they don't remember anything by the end of the arc.
I'm just picturing him slaughtering younglings, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess yeah."
He does, yeah. I think he sees a vision of himself killing younglings.
Jesus,
or maybe Obi-Wan does. Yeah, but it's great. It's really good, and again dives into all kind of mystical shit. That episode as well. Liam Neeson returned to voice Qui-Gon. And the actress who played Shmi also returned to play Shmi. So yeah, it was good.
Oh, cool. Oh no, that does sound pretty sick. Yeah, you love mystical force stuff.
I do. I eat that shit up for breakfast. I love it whenever Star Wars gets weird. Dive into the weird mystical shit all day long. That's exactly what I'm here for. Fucking force sensitive whales who can fly in hyperspace. Fuck yes. Give me that shit, man.
I did enjoy the return of the Purrgil, I must say. They're always great. I like whales that do cool stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of we're all over the shop here, so apologies if anyone is trying to listen to us talk about anything specific. Was that like, so when that was Balin's ending, standing on the kind of statues of those gods, was that like a big fuck yeah for you?
It was more it was bittersweet because obviously Ray Stevenson is no longer with us. Unfortunately, he died like just before the show aired, like about a month or so before, which is tragic for a lot of reasons. Not just because we can't see him play this character again, but also because he's fucking dead, and that's just awful.
Yeah, I saw so many people like, it's a shame he'll never be able to continue this character. I'm like, it's a shame he won't continue breathing, dude. Like, come on. It's not all about Star Wars.
Yeah, I know. So, and clearly, you know, they had plans for him because his character is kind of like open-ended at the end. So, it is a shame that we won't see him as Balin again, but it's also just a shame we won't see him again. And,
a talent, by the way, in this.
So good, man. His character... When he was he had a fight with Ahsoka in I think the second to last episode, and he was talking like about what waits for him and his purpose and all this stuff, and I was like, but he's always been cryptic throughout the entire show, and I was like, what is this guy cooking, man? This guy, he's got something going on, and he's so fucking intriguing. He's got a presence about him which I just want to know more about this character, and I think that's a testament to the way Ray Stevenson played him because. So good. It's such a gripping performance.
I think so. I think he does a lot with a little as well. Like he's not given a hell of a lot of screen time, but like the stuff that he's in, he's very, very captivating. And I think also it touches on a reason I loved Thrawn so much in Rebels is when you show me a guy who has all the the trimmings and all of this of an evil guy. You know, Thrawn with his little Imperial outfit and Balin with his his black robes and his red lightsaber and all of this.
Orange.
But when you just
orange lightsaber.
Was it orange?
Yeah, his and Shin's lightsabers are orange. Yeah,
it felt more red to me. Maybe I need to look at my TV. What's the orange thing about then?
I think it's just not fully committed to the dark, basically.
Okay,
not quite there, really.
No, fair enough. I mean that came across like I always like it when these kind of archetypal villain stereotypes get that little bit extra fleshing out. Like I like it that like Thrawn is a man of culture and a man of like immense intelligence and cunning, and he is able to do a lot more damage because he just plays a longer game and he waits and is more patient and doesn't let his emotions control him. And the same with Balin as well. Like he's got an edge to him. Like he doesn't just want to he's a mercenary that doesn't just want to kill for the sake of killing. Like he's ordered at one point to kill Ahsoka, and he's like, that would be a shame. And it's like he values that she is a life and has a talent, and it would be a gift that was struck from the world that didn't need to be. Very his ending, right? The kind of he was searching. He had throughout the whole show. He starts to express his kind of his hatred of the cycle of like the power imbalance, and it will be you guys will win the war and then there'll be another war and all of this. The kind of fresh beginning he was after, is that in this new galaxy? Is that what that meant when he was looking over all the desolate waste?
So he was looking over the horizon, and there was like a glowing thing in the mountain at the distance. We don't quite know what it is, but he was looking at something glowing in a mountain, which I assume is some kind of force mystical shit, because that's what he seems to be doing. He seems to be following something to do with the force. Maybe he's had some kind of contact with possibly the father or the Mortis gods or whatever remains of them. And we don't know, but there's clearly something is going on.
Yeah. How would you like to see his character handled? Because obviously, like we said, Ray Stevenson isn't going to be about to continue this story, but the character is so rife for potential. I don't know. How do they tastefully move forward with that?
I think you can recast. It'd be a shame, but I think you can recast or book, comic, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's definitely not the last we've seen of Balin either way. He'll fucking it's a joke, but like no Star Wars story is untapped forever. Okay, like eventually it'll get done. Like
this is the only thing I've ever managed. This is the one thing I have on the Star Wars community, and because it was mentioned in a Caravan of Garbage video, someone has probably filled it in by now. Meaning the in Phantom Menace, the scene where Mace Windu isn't Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we tried to find any backstory on it. Mason made a joke about how there's probably someone has fledged out that wasn't Mace Windu, and it was another Jedi. And we spent hours trying to find anything on this guy, but no one's filled in any backstory. It's just accepted that Mace Windu looks a bit different in that scene.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I have on them. That's the one character they haven't mined for any potential
yet.
Yeah. I haven't checked in a good year, so who knows?
But yeah, no, we'll definitely see Balin's story continue somewhere. Like it could be a book. A lot of Star Wars. It seems like the kind of thing that could continue on in a book. But again, yeah, I'm not opposed to a recast at all. But
yeah, I think they'll have to in the end, like because people do have a desire to see this, and if this show does get a season 2, it would be a shame for that character to not be a part of it.
I think it'll get a season 2.
Yeah, I think
it'll definitely get a season 2, I think.
But yeah, what about do you want to talk about Shin as well? Because she was a part of Balin's story.
Yeah, I really like Shin. I like that she had this kind of like feral nature to her. She she was an interesting pairing with Balin because Balin seemed to be like much more like measured than she was.
She always felt like she was on a leash or something. And,
yeah.
Just needed to be let off and she would just fucking run at someone.
Yeah. She had a fun little rivalry with Sabine. I hope they get to kiss at some point in the future. That'd be great. I enjoyed her character a lot. Also, in case you wasn't aware, just again, Dave cooking up his usual mischief nonsense. Balin and Shin are the names of 2 wolves from Norse mythology.
For fuck's sake, of course.
He can't help himself.
Fucking Dave, man. You're on thin ice with me as it is. All right? None of this.
He can't help himself.
Drop the wolf stuff. You're a man. You're an adult.
Everyone's riding wolves in the last few episodes as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, as soon as I saw what Sabine was like kicking about on, and they were like, "Careful, this is a wild animal," I was like, "For fuck's sake!"
Yeah.
I thought Shin was like you're saying I hope she gets to kiss Sabine. I thought she was a nice parallel between her and there was a nice parallel going on between her and Sabine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
which the quick to frustration, impatient to achieve her goals, but they were both seeking some sort of family and leadership presence in their lives, like someone to just be like, you can do this, by the way.
I feel like they're both apprentices who have complicated relationships with their master. They're both on like a kind of a sort of opposite track, whereas over the course of the series, we saw Sabine get closer and more in tune with her master. It only seemed like Shin and Balin kind of went the opposite direction, really.
He even says one of his last lines to her is my path is not the same as yours or something. He says where you want to go is
you just basically told her to fuck off, basically.
Yeah, it isn't even clear where the scene is going, and then he's like, my final lesson for you, and she's like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess this is done.
Yeah. And then at the end of it, she's kind of lost, essentially. I do like the moment where Ahsoka said to her I can help you, come with us and stuff, and then there did seem to be a moment where she was considering it and stuff. So
it's that pride though, isn't it? She just dipped because she was like, no, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go lead a group of mercenaries or whatever.
Yeah, it's like rolling over, showing your belly, isn't it? I've tried to kill both of you now. I can't be weak now.
I really enjoyed that moment as well in the forest where she on Cetos, where she was fighting with Sabine, and then she I think Sabine tried to use the Force, but she couldn't at that point, and then she just said, "You have no power." And then she went, and then Sabine just goes like, "Fuck you," and then she uses her Mandalorian like fucking gauntlet stuff.
That's another one of my little things. I love that little fake out where she was like, "Fuck off, dude."
Yeah.
Also, for someone that isn't that in tune with the Force, I know she does have it. It's in every living thing, blah blah, whatever. Like, but for someone that isn't as in tune with it as like most lightsaber wielders would be, like she's got a pretty good accurate guess rate for where those blaster bolts are coming. Like when she's deflecting them, and she's just like, nope.
Or maybe because she doesn't have the Force, you don't believe she can do this?
No. The Force resides in all living things, but you have to be open to it. Sabine is blocked. Her mind is conflicted. She's so expressive and yet so tightly wound. She's so...
Mandalorian.
Ugh, very.
Shut up, Lawrence.
What did I say that was wrong?
I don't know.
You just wanted to play your clip. I know you've got a good memory for these clips.
Also, you should just take another look at some of like the final moments with like Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine, like with the lightsabers against the zombie troopers. Zombie troopers, by the way, very cool.
Yeah.
Because like Sabine, Ahsoka and Ezra are like hitting the blaster bolts back perfectly. But if you watch Sabine, she's like getting hit in the head. She's taking shots, and then she's like, while Ezra and Ahsoka like are deflecting the blaster bolts back at the troopers, Sabine is like hitting them towards the floor and stuff like that. So she's not that attitude. And even Ahsoka says to her at one point, "Sabine, blasters, come on, you're not that good yet." So
yeah, I love that moment. Like she's like actively. Ahsoka went from like refusing to teach her to like they're in the middle of like the most important thing they have to do.
Yeah,
and she's still giving her like a little lesson, which I appreciate. No, I liked Sabine quite a lot in this. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, we know her character anyway, but it was nice to see her kind of where she landed after Rebels and how she is by far the most unhappy with her situation. Like, in terms of like she misses Ezra the most. I think she grew up with him. She was like a similar age to him. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, a little bit older,
like,
I think, but yeah.
Yeah, they were the she was. Her and Ezra were the most immature. They were the ones constantly compared as like the siblings that fought all the time. But they did have this love for each other, and I think it was interesting that because she's maybe not as mature as the others, and maybe not as in tune with how she feels the Force and understands that being a Jedi is more and also more importantly kind of about your mental state.
Yeah.
She kind of like. Love Sabine as I do, she kind of fucked it a little bit. Like, she kind of fucked up a lot in this, in terms of, like, where everyone ends up. Like, I think her choosing to go with Balon is really, really cool and, like, narratively a really interesting choice. But, my God, it was not good in the end for what it did.
In the terms of Thrawn is back in the galaxy, yes, but also Ezra is back as well. So 6-1.
Yeah, but then Ahsoka and Sabine are stranded. So
yeah, but
I like that they're both fine with it as well. They're like, do you know what? This was the day, wasn't it? Like this, we're exactly where we need to be today.
I'm sure a Purrgil will come along at some point.
Oh yeah, now that they found, she knows the way out now. She knows the way in.
Ezra can probably get back to that galaxy as well.
Yeah, that's probably true. They've probably kicked the door open more than they'd have, and like more than it was.
Yeah, he could summon a whale, take fucking Hera and Chopper and Jason along with him, pick up Zeb along the way.
I tell you what, that was something as well that I wanted to talk about. Like, is this in live action or like at least kind of widely consumed TV and movies?
Yeah.
Is this the first time we've seen a new galaxy
in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yes. I
thought so.
I think so. Yeah.
I like there were certain things that were like this comes kind of a bit of good, a bit of bad in terms of what I thought about this. I really like Star Wars from the get-go, iconic sound effects, right? Like literally from the very first movie.
Patrol.
yeah, the lightsabers, the blasters
Pachow.
are good.
Swing.
Any more for us?
Kachow.
Oh, ka-chow. I think that's from another franchise. But, like, it's been known for, like, you hear something now, and if it's from Star Wars, the average person on the street is going to know it's from Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's such an in-your-home and, like, present. It has such a pop culture relevancy that it's impossible not to recognize it.
Yes.
And I think to add to that, like, kind of rich tapestry of sound, it's incredible what is able to be pulled off with the because obviously we've in this we experience a new sort of hyperspace travel through obviously both the jumping to a different galaxy but then also traveling in the Purgil's mouth. I just think
while Huyang tells Ahsoka the story of Star Wars.
Yeah. I like that. That was funny.
Yeah, that was very cool. I liked that as well.
But I don't know. I just felt like it felt different. It felt like it felt like the hyperspace, like the visuals looked different. The sound was different. It felt like hyperspace.
Yeah, I think the visuals with hyperspace is a little bit different when it's the Purgil because it's obviously it's more of a natural phenomenon with them, isn't it? Like accessing like. The people in the galaxy only have hyperspace travel because of the Purgil. Like it was developed from them and stuff. So
makes sense that theirs feels more organic, whereas how the ships do it feels very manufactured.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot more like organic's probably the best word for it. Organic and mystical, I guess. Yeah.
Love that mysticism.
I do love mysticism. Tell you what I didn't like, popping out of hyperspace and seeing a load of whales just get shot and blown up. That was not fun at all.
I felt a bit conflicted on this, right? Because the whales are getting shot, and then Huyang is like, oh, it's a good thing that they're here to essentially be be whale shields for us.
Yeah, provide cover for them.
Yeah, take a bunch of shit, and then they all start fucking off because they're sick of getting shot.
Yeah.
And then Ahsoka's like, you had to just go and say that. You spoke too soon. I'm like, no, it's a good thing that they're not being massacred.
Yeah, I was the same. I was like, well, no, it's let them go. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't think you should be actively trying to keep them here. For your benefit. Like, just make your ship go quicker. But yeah, sure. No, I found that was quite funny.
So you hate Thrawn?
No, hang on. Before Thrawn,
okay.
The negative component again, not so much. No. This is it comes.
Oh wait, about the galaxy. Are we still talking? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is the only thing that I felt a little bit like. I don't even want to say I didn't like it. Let me just get my boo button ready. Let me just get my boo button ready. No, come on. I think this is a very fair point. I don't think it wasn't I didn't like it. Again, it was just something that, like, I don't know. I think it could have been more interesting. I think, like, the way it was expressed could have been cooler. Basically, Star Wars takes us to an entirely new galaxy, but, like, the setting is super familiar, like, big rocks, a kind of desolate wasteland desert. Like, the natives there, they have, like, blasters that are very familiar to us, and, like, armor. Sabine even speaks the language of, like, some of the local turtle things. I don't know, if it felt like another planet. It didn't feel like we entered a new galaxy that no one had ever stepped foot in before, that, like, you know, these characters anyway. I guess. Do you see what I mean? It just felt like, because there's blasters, there's a bunch of stuff I recognize. It just felt like I wasn't in a new space. But
what was you expecting though? That would be my question. I'm not trying to justify it, just genuinely asking, like, what would you have preferred to have seen? See, this is kind of the trouble with these kind of criticisms, because like, I don't know if I could necessarily do it better, but like, I'm sure the creative heads of Star Wars could. That's not what I'm getting. I'm not like saying you can't do it better. I'm just trying to say, like, what would you have rather seen? Like, what is? Oh yeah, no, but that's, again, I'm not trying to defend myself against it. I'm just saying I honestly don't know, but maybe just kind of less of the stuff I already knew. Like, but I think Star Wars has a particular look and aesthetic, and I think when you start to stray away from that, it doesn't feel like Star Wars. Because, like, yeah, sure, the blasters are very familiar, and there's the bandits, and it all looks like Star Wars, but I think it has to. Because if it delves too far into something else, then it's like, oh, this isn't Star Wars anymore. I don't quite know what I'm trying to say, but I feel like Star Wars has an aesthetic, and it's a very specific aesthetic. It's not something that can necessarily be applied to any like sci-fi fantasy movie sort of thing. Star Wars has like a very particular look about it.
I agree. I think like my feeling on it, and this is where maybe I'm living in a fucking ideal world where everything is, the way it should be and cool. Like I'm not. I understand fully, like, from a perspective of, like, creating a show and doing it in mind with fans to enjoy it. Like, I remember in the Book of Boba Fett, some characters had, like, speeder bikes that were, like, brightly coloured. And people just lost their fucking minds over it. And, like, while you shouldn't cater to those people, you're right, stuff can feel out of place. But I also just think, like, you're right, Star Wars does have an aesthetic, and something that is in front of most Star Wars movies is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But this isn't that galaxy, and I just wish that there was something a bit more to make it feel like that. But again, I didn't care. It was just something that, like, oh, that could have been cool. I felt like it was a bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but again, not really an issue for me.
Fair, yeah. Thrawn, you wanted to talk about?
Yes, the Grand Admiral himself has returned, and you hate him.
Right, we had a phone call this morning where I had some words, and then I went on and watched 3 more episodes of the show.
Yeah.
And my opinion has changed. I am going to eat some humble pie.
Okay.
My first thought behind it was, like, I don't know if, like, I understand his voice is very imposing, and I get he has a presence to him, but I also remember in a large part of his malice and threat and kind of perceived villainy in Rebels was that he was a man that, like, he very much so could outsmart you, but he could also fucking beat you up to fuck as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not Lars Mikkelsen's fault, right, that he's the age he is, but he does feel like a frailer, like this guy, like I don't know, he felt older. He didn't feel like.
Well, he is. It's just about 10 years in the timeline.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that, but that's a rough 10 years for Thrawn.
Well, I mean, he's not exactly been in a palace the entire time, has he? Like, he's not been.
But he's probably had his personal quarters where he can fucking do a bit of kickboxing and all.
Yeah, on a half-destroyed starship held together with fucking magic and tape.
Got literally some red fabric as well. Yeah. No, I do see it, but then, like I say, that was my kind of initial read. I'd seen him on screen for maybe 10 minutes.
I also think with Thrawn as well, like, yes, he is, like, physically imposing in Rebels, but there's also very few of that you see. Like, you don't see that until well into, like, the fucking his introduction and stuff. It's not for quite a while, and even then, it's only like once or twice we see it at most. Like it.
What a point of him is that he doesn't resort to that, right?
No, yeah, exactly. He fights with his mind, basically. He's a master tactician. He's a very intelligent person. He just knows how to fight without fighting, basically.
Yeah, it would never come to that because he's already beaten you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, and I do appreciate that, and I also think as time went on, like, there are just certain things where, like, he is written very, very well.
Yeah.
In not just in this, but in Rebels and how they've built the character. Just, like, little things where, like, certain things, certain lines that, like, in bureaucracy and, you know, like, fucking, it could feel like fucking data entry and admin when he's like, get me Ahsoka's file from the Jedi archives.
Yeah.
But, like, because we know Thrawn, we know that he's like, where's her weak spot? What pressure points can I poke at? Like, it's all that kind of menacing tactical stuff that he does that, like,
I love it whenever he says something is acceptable.
Because, like, that's acceptable losses.
Exactly.
That's an acceptable
because,
time
like,
frame.
Yeah, when the Chimera shows up and they're like, oh, it'll take us 3 rotations to get it loaded up, is like an acceptable time frame. And then he learns about, like, the TIE fighters, and he's like, these are acceptable losses in the circumstances. And
Yeah.
there's something about it which is just, it's like butter. I love his voice. He's so good.
He's always in a poker game, right? Like
Yeah.
he's always counting his chips and making sure that he's still stacked.
Yeah.
He's
very good.
He's a great character, and I do think that like the trade off from having him not look as physically imposing, but still keeping that voice and that eeriness and creepiness to him.
Yeah.
That I think only Lars can bring.
Yeah.
I will take my humble medicine and drink it because I was wrong.
I think he's great. I really love seeing Thrawn again. Lars played him great in Rebels. He plays him great here. I don't mind the look of him at all. I think he looks quite good, really.
He looks good in blue. He looks very
He
menacing
does
in
look
blue.
good in blue. Yeah. I love the moment where he finds out Anakin is Ahsoka's or was Ahsoka's master. It's a very good moment. And it's just a moment of like, oh shit, like, okay,
Oh, fuck. I'm dealing with some sauce here.
yeah, this is going to be a little bit unpredictable and wild then, just like a master.
And you see, that's the thing about him as well. Like, it's one thing to write that cool dialogue, but having the plot adhere to it as well. Like he says like rain hellfire down, and like when someone even gives him the slightest kind of quizzical look, like this isn't how we normally do things. He's like, there'll be no reasoning with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
And it's like, fuck you, yeah, there won't be.
yeah,
And like it's the, like, you know, he sucks and is a fascist, but like it's the right move for him.
yeah. It's true. Yeah, it's true. Some people were getting typical Star Wars fans were getting upset that as a Thrawn apparently didn't know that Ahsoka was Anakin's apprentice, even though they appeared together in a book, and Anakin during the Clone Wars met Thrawn. And he literally mentioned the name Ahsoka once. He went, "Oh, my Padawan Ahsoka," and that was it. That's the only time Ahsoka was ever mentioned, and that was like 30 years prior to this. So, yeah, and people were upset that he didn't remember that one name 30 years ago.
Yeah, I presumably went to the shops with my mum when I was 5 at one point. I probably was introduced to one of my mum's friends at that point.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean anything to anyone. Fucking put yourself in. This is one of the things I was going to say in this, and it's kind of flipped on that. Like, there are some moments where, like, we've always said, isn't it such a good thing that fans don't write Star Wars? And
it is.
I think, and it is. And one thing I was going to say is, like, hang on. Dave Filoni is like the biggest Star Wars fan that writes Star Wars.
Yeah, but he's also a writer as well, though. So
yes, yeah.
He's not just someone on Twitter who thinks he can do better. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's someone who actually works in the industry and has done for many years before he was working with Lucasfilm. So
Yeah, and that's the distinction. If you get hung up on that kind of shit, one-off line in a book.
Hey,
Shut up.
You know that show everyone loves? That fucking Avatar, The Last Airbender show? Dave Filoni. Like, he's been around, okay? Like, he knows what he's doing.
He's earned his salt, I will say, in animation. We've still got some beef in live action, me and him.
Okay, well. Don't get me wrong, I got some beef with Filoni. I genuinely do. I am cautious when it comes to Filoni. I do think some of the... I'm a little bit wary of the cult of Filoni, I'll say. Like, you know, like whenever like there's that picture goes around, like whenever there's a good episode of live action Star Wars, there's always that picture which is like someone like raising their arms up into the sky, and there's Dave Filoni's face in the clouds or whatever. You know that meme?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little bit wary of all of that, just because like the Filoni can do no wrong. Filoni is a hero. Give Filoni the keys to the kingdom. Let him do everything. Filoni. I'm a little bit wary of all of that, just because I don't think we should ever hold anyone up to those standards. Like, don't ever fucking deify anyone to that extent, because it's only just going to lead to heartbreak. Because like I've seen it happen before. People would like fucking praising Taika as like the fucking second coming, and like fucking he's breathing fresh air into Marvel, and then he makes one misstep and everyone is like, no, boo, fucking kill him, and all this sort of stuff, and it happens. Some people aren't happy with the way some stuff turned out, and it's like Filoni missed, and then it's I don't know. I think people get like too I just think like they put people on too high of a pedestal sometimes, and I think let's all just calm down, you know. Let's just be normal about all of this and not turn anyone into a god when they're just writing a TV show. Okay.
I think as well, like if you're so content with handing over the keys to one person, how fucking boring is that gonna get?
Yeah.
Like if it's all the vision of one. I mean, like right now, I'm like a lot of live action Star Wars TV shows. I'm relatively indifferent to Dave Filoni. I think that like I wish he did some stuff better, but I also appreciate some cool stuff that he's done. But without, you know, I'm pretty sure like the only one he hasn't had like a fucking direct grip on is Andor. And that's you know, like, not to sound too Andor bro about it all, but like that is my favorite one. I think that is the best written and the best directed, and I like the story the most.
Yeah.
And like you don't get that if you just hand the keys to one man, right? And like I know that's been Star Wars' way.
Yeah, that's true. You don't. Yeah.
But like, yeah, like George Lucas had it his way for a while, and then you all started to hate him as well. Like it just fucking let creatives create. Don't restrict it to one thing.
And now there's this revisionist history that they always loved George, and George was somehow forced out, even though he sold the company of his own choice. Because
there's a video of him very happily shaking hands for $4 billion.
Because he was also relentlessly fucking vilified and crucified for like fucking 7 years or whatever, and he was like, well, I don't need this. I'm just going to fucking... Someone made a documentary or something called George Lucas Raped My Childhood.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Exactly. Can you imagine?
Fucking get a grip, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus. Fucking hell.
But anyway, that's... I don't know. Things piss me off.
Little tangent there from both of us, but yeah.
Yeah.
What else do we have to discuss?
I don't know. What else do we have to discuss? Zombie troopers, Night Sisters, magic, mystical shit.
So this is the kind of stuff that I'm like, I'm very indifferent on. Like this is the kind of stuff that just like
this is what you're indifferent on. This is the most exciting shit for me.
No, you see, this is where we differ. Like, I don't know, like the Night Sisters. I'm just like, there's witches. It's cool. It's
there's witches. It's magic with a K. It's fucking rad.
But it doesn't mean anything to me. Like I didn't like it wasn't. It was a crucial part of the story, but like I didn't care about like the three like what they called the mothers or something.
Yeah, the mothers. Very like sort of like Macbeth witches and the threads from Hercules and that type of stuff. Very much
cool.
Inspired by like that Greek culture sort of stuff.
Exactly, and they are cool. I like their like mechanics. I like their little red things that can imprison people, but also like give you little directions on a map. And I think all of that stuff is very cool. But like as characters, I was like, whatever. And I care more for how they service the story than them as characters. You're the wrong person to ask this because this won't be a gotcha moment. But like, what are their names? What are those three people's names?
The same. I actually know because they're the same names as the threads from Greek mythology, but I don't know the actual names off the top of my head. But
yeah,
I know that they're the same names as the ones from the Greek mythology. So
okay. Well, look, I don't know. This is your ballpark. You love this kind of stuff. What did they bring to it for you? Why do you love them?
Mysticism, magic, weirdness. They brought in the fact that fucking the Dathomirians and Night Sisters and Zabraks apparently all originated from this other galaxy. That's interesting. New lore shit, first of all. I don't know. I've always found Night Sisters interesting. It's because the Night Sister magic is the Force, but just channeled and used in a different way. It's more dark side based, and it's like it takes a toll as well, which is why like they look in pain like a lot of the time and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just weird, cool shit. They can raise the dead. Like, how is that not fucking sick?
Oh no, see, this is lore that I don't know. So like that, like I didn't know that their magic was the Force, but channeled through a different means. Like that's cool, but I had no fucking idea that that was going on.
Yeah.
I like Merrin.
Yeah, Mirren's a fucking nice sister. But she's nice.
I'm just trying to find a point to grasp onto here with nice sisters. I like Merrin, she's cool.
Asajj, wasn't that? But you won't know Asajj, will you? Asajj Ventress.
But I did pick up on Hayden using that name, and I'd imagine that
Yes.
was another moment where people threw their popcorn.
Yeah, I cheered. I cheered when he said General Grievous, because I know General Grievous.
When they say the thing that you recognise.
Yes.
I did see. It's funny that you mentioned that photo. I kept seeing that Dave Filoni photo get ratioed on Twitter this week, and I don't like to be part of either camp, but it does always make me giggle a little bit where someone posts the Dave Filoni photo and someone quote tweets it saying who cameoed this time. That does always make me
Not for me.
It's just because you said there's the thing that you know. What have I got? What's on my thing? Any other mysticism stuff you wanted to talk about?
I enjoy mysticism, Lawrence.
I know this.
I enjoy weirdness. Star
true.
Wars has always been weird, and it should always be weird.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Having a look
Frankly,
through
I
my
won't
little-
hear any different from you.
I'm not trying to tell you any different.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much
Did
it.
you like it when C-3PO showed up and when Leia can't be here because of obvious reasons?
Yeah.
So I'm here to tell you what Leia said instead.
I did like that, and I liked
Yeah.
that. Like it was all very formal until like Mon Mothma went over to Hera and was like, what the fuck are you and Leia cooking? I'm like, what are you two doing? And she's just not giving any of it away. I did like her telling that smug little senator guy to just eat shit.
I liked it when that senator was like, fuck. He was like, "Are we really gonna take all this from the word of a droid?" And then Chopper just like went, "What the fuck?" He like piped up from the fucking sea, and Carson Teva had to be like, "It's not worth it, bro."
Yeah, hold me back, hold me back.
Yeah.
I did like that. That was very, very funny.
I also there's a moment I like this is a very funny moment in is it third or fourth episode when Huyang says to Carson Teva, he's talking about Jason, and he just says to Carson Teva, his father was Kanan Jarrus, a Jedi Knight, and he just gives him like this brief backstory, and then Carson just goes, "Okay," and then just walks off.
I like that, and I know why that's in the show. Like, no one else saw Rebels other than a mass audiences didn't see Rebels.
Yeah.
Or at least not to the point where they even saw that Kanan had a son.
Yeah.
And is no longer in the picture. But yeah, I did love that where he was just like, "All right, dude,
Okay.
chill, man. Thanks for being an encyclopedia for me."
Yeah.
Do you wanna
Senator Ziono is a prick. He is the father. He's the dad of I think his name is Kaz, who's the main character of Star Wars Resistance, which I haven't watched. Well, I've watched some of it. I watched the first season, but
And who is this guy? Who is this guy in the show?
he's just the main character.
No. Who is?
Oh, he's the smug senator guy.
Oh right, yeah. So,
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
you use their names. I don't know any of their names.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I know Mon Mothma. She was in the movie.
Mon Mothma. Well, some of them.
Yeah, she was in some of them, and she wasn't this woman, but I know her.
Well, she was in two of them, maybe one of them.
Yeah, and then in Andor when she is the best version of her character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
the
was-
version of her that has a character.
She first played this character in Revenge of the Sith, but I don't actually know if she's in Revenge of the Sith. I think because I think
it got
most
cut,
of her
right?
scenes were cut. Yeah. I think she might like still appear in the background or something probably. But yeah, and then Rogue One was the first time that we like properly saw her play her.
Yes, yeah, I liked her in Rogue One as well. I thought she was fun.
She's great. Yeah.
Do you want to do some little things?
Little thing. I have no little things because I have no notes. So
Okay.
Like,
I will list my little things.
I mean, if I come up with a little thing, I'll do a little thing.
Okay. I mean, I've only got 2 because I had
All right.
I had 5. But
Lawrence,
you
I'm going to
mentioned-
stop you right there. I have a little thing.
Oh goodness.
Okay. Captain Enoch is very cool. I like his helmet and his mask.
I would agree if I knew who Captain Enoch was.
Well, you can take a stab at it based on the context that I just gave you. He's a captain
captain.
with a helmet that's cool.
Run it by me.
Thrawn's right hand captain.
Oh yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I like the little face on it. He had a cool little face on it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they like in however many years they've been stranded there. Thrawn was just like, get a little freaky with your outfits, guys, if you like. Like
Because they're called night troopers. They're not called stormtroopers. They're called night troopers, and they look fucking sick, man. They look
imposing.
yeah, very much so.
I
Anyway.
do like them.
A little thing.
A little thing from me. Sabine cutting her hair the way Kanan did was cool.
Yes.
I liked that.
Yes, very much.
My
so.
other.
No, it's my little thing.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you had more.
I thought of loads.
Okay.
Okay. The Chimera. It was always very fun to see the Chimera in Rebels, and very intimidating. Like when it just dropped out of hyperspace, you just did like the thud of the ship dropping out of hyperspace, and then you'd see like the big imposing Star Destroyer with like Thrawn's like Chimera symbol on the bottom of it, and then seeing it appear here, great, just as intimidating. And obviously, it's like wrecked to shit because of what it's gone through. So yeah.
Yeah, but I like the way that it still feels like the fucking sturdy fucking legend ship that it is. Like it's still like, yeah, I went to a different galaxy and I'm still good.
Yeah, it's still just as intimidating.
Yeah. I love that design as well underneath it. Very
Yeah,
very
it's
cool.
great. Yeah.
That's what I think. That's another thing Dave Filoni does very well. He draws from a lot of like cultural stuff.
Draws from a lot of like mythology and a lot
Yeah.
of there's a surprising amount of Lord of the Rings in this.
Okay.
Yeah, like Ahsoka is very much like Gandalf in this, basically.
Oh, when she put on her white outfit.
Well, yeah, she starts it off as Ahsoka the Grey, and she like goes through like a whole test sort of thing where she has to figure herself out, and she comes out of it as Ahsoka the White.
She does.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a big thing about her hair or her thing. You're never supposed to see her wear her things.
Oh yes, there was a scene where she didn't have like the sort of like headband thing to, because whenever we've seen Ahsoka apart from as a baby, she's always had some kind of like headpiece to like separate her actual face from the Montrails, because it just breaks it up and makes it look normal, basically, because otherwise like it looks upsetting and weird, and everyone's just like, I don't like it, why is it bald, don't do that. Yeah,
I did like same kind of thing with Hera as well. She didn't take off once her little flight goggles, which were just there to hide prosthetics.
that it's the same with literally any Twi'lek character. Like any fucking Twi'lek that shows up, they will always have some little headpiece just to cover up the like seam between the skin and Leku and stuff.
Very, very fun.
Silly.
The kind of thing that like Star Wars is known for just being like a bit hokey with and silly.
Yeah.
I've put David Tennant training Sabine with the now we've spoken about this briefly on the podcast before. I was once a judo master.
Okay.
And I too went through some traditional Japanese drills, training drills. No, like you laugh. I did, right? and it appears here. There's like the scene where Sabine was having to not before the blindfold bit where she was striking the little things that David Tennant was holding out for her.
David Tennant, yes.
Yeah. And like obviously it wasn't Japanese counting. That would be Ichni Sanshi Go Roku. But they were doing like whatever the Star Wars counting was, but it was very traditional Japanese strike on the count martial arts, which I quite liked.
So, yeah, Star Wars and Jedi in particular have always been very influenced by Japanese like samurai. And that
Ahsoka
sort of
did Seven
stuff.
Samurai, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, cool. Any other little things?
Captain Rex.
Yeah, I didn't see him. Which one was he? I know he was in it.
He was a clone. So.
Okay. Was he? Did he just have one of the hats? Or did you see his face?
No, you didn't see Tem. No, you didn't see Tem.
Okay.
I don't think Tem was ever on set. He'd have just voiced them. But no, it was just like at one moment, like when Ahsoka was in the World Between Worlds, and then you see like Anakin in the distance talking to some clones and some Twi'leks. There was like a clone there with like the commander sash and the skirt and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking Rex. That's Rex from a distance. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit! And then it flash forwards to the siege of Mandalore, where they're fighting like the Mandalorians and stuff. And then you actually see Rex say to Ahsoka, "We'll get him, Commander. We're on the way," or whatever. So yeah, very exciting. Oh yes, actually, Force Ghost Hayden at the end, just capping it off. Very nice. Yeah, nice to see that. Like, Ahsoka talked about like how her master has always been there for her, and like just at the end, we get Hayden, Anakin, with just that little prideful look on his face. It's just a beautiful little ending, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And it feels like it's putting their relationship to bed. Like,
Yeah.
when all is said and done, at the end of the day, she's at peace with who he was.
Yeah.
And that is obviously, as a Force Ghost, having been through, because we know he's done his life now. He's a ghost, right?
Yeah.
He knows how he ended, and he knows that he was redeemed by the most important people to him. The rest of the galaxy would probably have stuff to say.
Yeah.
He was redeemed by the people that mattered to him. And I like that Ahsoka was kind of the one we never saw. We never saw that resolution, so to get it is quite nice.
I know people have an issue now, I guess, with the de-aging for whatever reason, but I liked it. I thought it looked good. I thought he looked fucking great, to be honest. So
Yeah. And also, like, this is the Star Wars fans to a T, right? You don't like the de-aging, but when he looked old in fucking
Exactly.
Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi, you just ridiculed him online about it as if the poor guy hasn't fucking had enough of you pricks.
yeah,
Like, so pick a lane, and I think it looked good. I think it wasn't plastered all over his face. I think they just smoothed him a little bit.
yeah.
Because like he's older, and he technically he's not supposed to look that old. It's fine. I'd rather that than a full fucking CGI recreation.
He's not a 20-year-old boy.
Yeah. And oh no. How terrible that your heroes grow up.
Yeah.
Why can't my action figures all stay the same age? Says a bunch of fucking stupid Star Wars fans.
It is wild to think that he became Vader at like the age of like fucking 22, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I also look at Vader and like even young Vader, like fresh in the suit Vader, and I'm like, fucking hell, dude.
Yeah.
You're 42. Like, I just know it.
Yeah.
You don't come across as a... Imagine Vader walking along and Palpatine's like, go here, and he's like, radical. I'll do that now.
Turbula. Slay King. I will do that.
I'm going to serve cunt. But yeah.
Join me and we can serve cunt together. If you only knew the power of serving cunt.
Oh my god. Join me, Luke, and together we can lay Riz across the galaxy.
Oh no. You're obsessed with laying Riz recently.
I think it's what the cool kids say.
I don't think it is. I think it's what an out-of-touch 26-year-old says.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Oh god. Let's do some recommendations before this becomes our longest podcast ever.
All right, you go.
All right, this is the part of the show where me and Nathan, we recommend stuff to each other. It could be anything that we've done that week, seen, looked at, experienced, whatever. Could be anything. And this week, this is a bizarre one for me, to be fair. This week, I'm recommending the Instagram account @RealTalkingFish.
Okay.
Which, for fun, I'm going to give you a guess. You'll be wrong. What do you think that account is?
I think that is an account.
No, you're Googling it. Stop it. No.
No, no. Why would I do such a thing like that? I think that's an account where there's a fish and he tells the news.
Damn, you're correct. Right, it's called, for people that don't know, because obviously Nathan's clued in, it's an account, it's at Real Talking
Francis
Fish.
has suggested he would be open to having the Catholic Church bless same-sex couples. The request was one of a number sent to the Pope ahead of a weeks-long global gathering to discuss the future of the Church. He added, however, that the Church still considered same-sex relationships objectively sinful and would not recognize same-sex marriage. Breaking news! A plague of bedbugs has hit Paris and...
It's the fish from SpongeBob.
Yeah, it's basically that, right? The account is called Bikini Bottom News, and it basically creates like shorts and reels about real events, but it's the newscaster fish from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay.
And I don't know about it. Sometimes it doesn't always land. Like sometimes there's just horrible news.
Yeah, like today's full of horrible news.
Yeah, exactly. Today's in the UK specifically has been fucking gross today.
Yeah.
But like it always just gets a kick out of me to hear him going breaking news. I very much enjoy it. It's fun. It's a little bit of silliness.
Okay, great. Well, to be honest, I actually have seen that account before. I came across it on not on Instagram, but I came across it on TikTok a while back.
Oh, okay.
So I actually
fuck me, I guess.
Yeah, fuck you. Already know all about it. So
that's fair.
There we go.
Well, thank you for indulging me and still letting me explain.
You are welcome.
Nathan, what would you recommend to me and our listeners?
Lawrence, what I have to recommend is something I watched earlier today. And I didn't have a good time watching it.
Okay.
I didn't enjoy it.
Right.
And if anything, it just made me angry.
Okay. And you're recommending this?
And I am recommending this, yes, because I actually think it's important that people watch it.
Okay.
This might get a little weird. I'm going to recommend. It's a kind of it's a weird cross between a documentary and a drama, and it aired on Channel 4 in the UK last night. You can watch it on whatever the 4's version of iPlayer is these days, 4OD or All 4 or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's called Partygate. Okay.
Partygate. Okay.
Partygate. Okay. For those who are unfamiliar, Partygate.
Wait, is there a trigger warning that needs to come prior to this?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
No. For those unfamiliar, Partygate is a political scandal we had here in the UK, where over the course of the pandemic and lockdown, it came about that officials in Downing Street, which is where the Prime Minister lives and works, 10 Downing Street, were having parties and drinking, not social distancing, even in some cases having sex and doing cocaine, and all kind of stuff. Just basically breaking the rules that they set out, which we should have all followed and stuff. And it was a big political scandal. In the end, Boris Johnson had to resign because of it. It was a fucking huge scandal. So Channel 4 have made this, again, it's like half documentary, half drama, because there's like actors in it. And it's like scripted, but it's also all scripted like from the actual Sue Gray report, which is like the look into it and the parliamentary report and that type of stuff. And it's very well done because it shows you like the parties and the events, what happened, and it gives you the dates so you can see like very clearly when it was like 14th of June 2020, and then what it will do, it will cut from that to then like real world footage of like people in like Lancashire at a funeral, but then having to social distance because of COVID and everything. And like there was one clip that they showed, which was, and this is a genuine clip, like it's not filmed, it's like all real footage. And it was a funeral somewhere. And like everyone is sat on chairs, like 6 feet apart, whatever the rule was and stuff. And then this one woman just started breaking. I think it was like her son who had died, and she just like fucking broke down and started crying. And then like 2 people moved their chairs closer to her so they could comfort her, like put their arms around her. And then they, like the guy giving the funeral, he was interrupted and someone came up to them and said, "Stop, you have to move apart. You can't do that. You have to move apart." And then it like cuts back to people like dancing and drinking and down the street and all that type of stuff. So yeah, to be honest, it made me fucking furious watching it. It's something that genuinely really angered me. But it's really well done.
What a great way to show that like hypocrisy between the two fucking stances as well.
That's something it does really. It really shows you like the fucking the hypocrisy and the fucking audacity of it all. Really, it's something that is the fact that it happened is fucking ridiculous. It also does a good job of like it shows you like other people in the country who are having like gatherings and parties when they shouldn't be, like people in like fucking, just regular people who like haven't seen their friends and stuff for a while, and then like they get like £10,000 fines, £15,000, £30,000 in some instances, and then it ends with like text saying like Boris Johnson, Carrie Johnson, and Rishi Sunak were all fined in the end for their Partygate for the Partygate scandal, and they each got a £50 fine.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, a £50 fine. And then there's people who are like fucking, barely affording rent getting a fucking £30,000 fine, where like these people were all fucking dancing and drinking and doing all this stuff with fucking taxpayer money, I might add as well.
Yeah, that's the salt in the wound, isn't it? Like, it's just, and also like as if if you're not in the UK, sorry, this might be a little bit like, why do you care? But like, it's fucking under a bad government and under fucking terrible leadership, which this country's been for over a fucking decade, approaching a decade and a half. Like, you don't need more reasons to hate these pricks.
No.
Like, especially like today's fucking, it's a time of recording. I'm not gonna fucking even give it space on this fucking show. Yeah. But like, despicable fucking shit that's been said today, and like
horrendous.
I don't even know if I'm in good enough headspace to watch that with them today. Like,
just outright evil and nasty shit that's been said, and also fucking disingenuous because they don't even care. They don't give it doesn't affect their fucking billionaire lives. It doesn't matter to them. It's just stoking the flames of a culture war for votes. Like, it's literally it. Yeah, it's just because they know they're on a downward trajectory. They know they can't necessarily win the next election.
Yeah. So it's grifting. It's when you see YouTubers like Disney woke. It's that shit on a government level.
It's just appealing to the absolute fucking scum who buy into that and get obsessed with these conspiracy theories and all this shit.
Anyway, we really liked Ahsoka.
Yeah, we liked Ahsoka. But no, I do think people should watch that because again, it's like it's an hour long. It's you're not necessarily going to have like the fucking time of your life watching it or anything, and you probably will get angry if you're not a massive cunt.
They're probably trying to bury it, which means you should watch it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You should watch it.
Oh, what a fucking despicable group of pricks.
Yeah,
honestly,
indeed.
I didn't know there was a like today has made me really. I'll cut this probably as well. The fucking today. Like, I even thought to myself, like, I didn't realize Rishi Sunak could look smaller and more pathetic than he already does.
Yeah,
and like it's just like it's like how is a man that's like fucking 5'5" look even smaller and
you don't have to cut
ridiculous? That. Yeah,
you don't have to cut that. You can keep that in.
I might cut that. Yeah, I might keep it in. Yeah. I fucking hate Rishi Sunak. He's such a fucking despicable, disingenuous string of piss. I
hate them all.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I hate I hate how smug he is.
Yeah.
I hate his intonation and the way he delivers his fucking addresses. That just I want to hit him. I want to hit him a lot. Stupid.
He was asked yesterday in an interview. I think Beth Rigby asked him in an interview yesterday if he'll call a general election, and then he just said the country doesn't want a general election. Like, fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah,
like
waffle.
The country is screaming out for an election. You don't want an election because you know you can't fucking win it.
Yeah, and also like you didn't even fucking win an election. Like, you weren't even the man that was voted in with this party. Like, I saw somewhere as well that he was barely even a fucking cabinet member when the Tories came into power, and he's just stumbled his way into being the Prime Minister because he was the third choice and the other two fucked it.
Not only was he not elected, once the actual elected leader, Boris Johnson, stepped down, they had an election between Conservative members only. Members of the political Conservative Party would vote on who would be the next Prime Minister. He fucking lost that election as well. It was only because Liz Truss, who won it, then fucked up so catastrophically that they had to give it to him. So he's
Even your
fucking
boys don't want you
twice.
there, man.
He's fucking unelected twice.
Jesus, there aren't enough words for that oxygen thief.
Suella Braverman can fuck off as well. The fucking absolute abhorrent, vile, disgusting woman, man. So fucking evil.
Welcome back to another Happy Pod After Dark, by the way. This is what we do now.
Yeah. If we haven't alienated the majority of our listeners, well, I hope not, really, because...
If you're not like you don't have to agree with the fine points of what we're saying, but if you don't at least hold the consensus that this government suck, then like not the show for you. I don't think.
If you don't believe that people deserve basic fucking rights and respect, then maybe this isn't the place for you.
Isn't this wild? It all literally this entire thing comes down to a group of like largely oppressed people just being like, we'd really prefer it if you said this.
And then been like, no, I don't have to, actually.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I don't think you can exist. I've said it, and therefore it's true.
And therefore, go away.
Yeah.
Anyway, good luck deciding what of that stays in and doesn't.
I mean, we're never accepting an ad from the Tory government anyway, so like we're not beholden to it. Anyway, yeah. Cool recommendations. Well, one great talking fish account and the other a documentary that will largely put you in a spiral of bad mood. Yeah. But again, probably more important. I don't know if the fish is more important. I would say maybe.
Lawrence, I have to go play Assassin's Creed Mirage in 30 minutes.
Oh, yes, I apologise. Enjoy that. Thank you, everyone, for listening. By the way, if you were wondering, you can mosey on over to Twitter. That is a good place to catch us at Another Happy Pod, where you'll get a little post reminder. You'll be scrolling on your feed and you'll see a little post come up from us every single Friday at 10 a.m. And you'll be like, wow, I forgot this podcast was coming out. I can't wait to click this link that will take me through to a podcast platform of my choice where I can listen to this episode. And while you're there, I don't know if you know this, but there is on that podcast platform of choice, there is likely a review feature. You maybe even be able to write a little comment. That would be cool. But for the most part, if you give this a little 5 stars, if you appreciate it, and if you hate the Tories, that for if you don't, we can only assume that you were on the wrong side of history. So I would, if it was me, I'd give a like. Or a review. I'm stumbling. Nathan, we have another podcast.
That's right, we do. It's called Still Got Legs. It's our Doctor Who rewatch podcast. Every week we watch an episode and discuss an episode of Doctor Who. We're coming up to the end of Series 3. It's our Series 3 finale, and the next episode maybe, depending on when this comes out. I don't know. I often get the dates mixed up. Join us. It's fun. Still Got Legs. Available on all podcast platforms every Monday, 10 a.m.
He did it faster this week to embarrass me. But that's fair. What else do I say? There's something else I'm missing.
Review, Twitter.
Did the date.
I don't know.
I'm definitely missing something. That's right, Lawrence, you are missing something. Hi, everyone, it's Editing Lawrence. Firstly, sorry this episode is late, and secondly, as soon as we finished recording yesterday, I realised that I forgot to say that next week we're going to be doing this.
If I can prove that I never touched my balls, will you promise not to tell another soul what you saw? No one else was in the room where it happened. Is that a yes? You just touched your ball.
Wow, what a fantastic time. I bet everyone is so excited. No one has ever heard of this niche musical ever before.
Are we done?
Yeah, say goodbye.
All right, bye.